Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Dathang Pare Govind Damodar Madhaveti Govind Damodar Madhaveti Sukhavasane tvidameva saram Dukkhavasane tvidameva geyam Dehavasane tvidameva japyam Govind Damodar Madhaveti Govind Damodar Madhaveti Govind Damodar Madhaveti Parigriya Krishna Mrigiva Bhita Tu Katham Kathanchit सभां प्रविष्टा मनसा जुहाव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति श्री कृष्ण राधावर गोकुलेश गोपाल गोवर्धननाथ विष्णु जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेत देव जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेत देव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। श्रीनाथ विश्वेश्वर विश्वमूर्ते श्रीदेवकी नंदन दैत्य शत्रु जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेत देव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। गोपीपते कंसरिपो मुकुंदे लक्ष्मीपते केशव वासुदेव जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेत देव जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेत देव जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेत देव जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेत देव गोपीपते कंसरिपो मुकुंद लक्ष्मीपते केशव वासुदेव जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेत देव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति 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 गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। गोपाल कृष्ण भगवान की जय। Victory to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Hello everybody, humble greetings, humble pranams and special welcome to all of you. And thank you so much for joining with me today in day 96, session 96 of our 100-day Srimad Bhagvad Gita challenge. Our aim is to recite the entire Srimad Bhagvad Gita over the span of 100 sessions, 100 days, 7 shlokas each session. Today in our invocation again we join in offering 6 more verses of the Govind Damodar Stotra, singing and offering the humblest of salutations and praises to Sri Krishna, Yogeshwar and that master of this universe, that Lord of all yoga. We now join in offering Gita Dhyanam, these meditative stanzas as dedicated to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Harihi Om, Harihi Om, Harihi Om. Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswatyai Namaha, Shri Guru Charana Kamalabhyo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Arthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata Narayanena swayam Vyasena gratitam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashayanim Ambatamanu Bhagavad Gita Bhavadaishinim Namostude Vyasa Vishal Buddhe Pullana Vindayatra Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Daila Purna Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradeepa Prabhana Parijataya Totra Vaitraka Pade Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gita Amrita Duhina Sarvopanishido Gavo Dugdha Gopala Dugdha Gopal Nandanam Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhukta Dugdham Gitamritam Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsa Chanur Vardhanam Devagi Paramanandam Krishna Vande Jagadguru Vishmadrona Dada Jayadada Jalagandhar Nilotpala Shanyagrahavati Kripena Mahanina Karnena Velakula Ashvathama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sutirna Kalu Padavaidanandi Kaivartaka Kesava Parasharevachas Sarojam Avalam Gitartha Gandhot Katham Nanakyaraka Kesaram Harikatha Sambodhana Bodham Loge Sajjana Shat पदैर्हरः पेवीयमानं मुदा भूयाधार्तपङ्कजं कलिमं प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुत स्तुवन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैर्वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः कार्यन्ति यं सामग ध्यानावस्थिततर्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय। गीता माता की जय। Victory to Mother Bhagavad Gita. We join in offering this beautiful hymn, singing the praises of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. माते जय भगवद गीते माते जय जय गीते जय व्यास जाते जय जय गीते जय व्यास जाते जय जय पर कल्याण तत्त्वज्ञाने शांति निधान शांति निधान भव भयहारी सर्वगुण सर्वगुण जय भगवद गीते माते मुक्तिदायिनी शक्तिकारिणी भक्ति प्रचोदिनी जननी 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 जय भगवद गीते माते जीवार्जुन किल विचारिणी विचारिणी देवकी तनय श्री कृष्ण चिंतामणि कृष्ण चिंतामणि जय भगवद गीते माते आशा मोह स्वार्थ समारिणी आशा मोह स्वार्थ समारिणी दास के सब रुद हृदय विहारिणी हृदय विहारिणी जय भगवद victory to Mother Bhagavad Gita. In our previous session, dear friends, we stopped off at verse shlok number 47 of chapter 18 entitled Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. And in today's session, we commence from verse number 48, shlok number 48 of chapter 18, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, where once again Sri Krishna is continuing to explain to Arjuna on that battlefield of Kurukshetra and by extension all of humanity. We listen as Yogeshwara Sri Krishna, that master, teacher, Lord of all yoga, is telling to all of creation. Shri Bhagavad is saying, Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api nyatyajet sarvarambha hi doshena dhume nagnir iva vridaha. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api nyatyajet sarvarambha hi doshena Dhume nagnir iva vridaha. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api natyajet sarvarambha hi doshena dhume nagnir iva vridaha. Therefore, Arjuna, one should not relinquish one's innate duty, even though it has a measure of evil. For all undertakings are beset by some evil, as is the fire covered by smoke. In the material world, no one can be completely free from the contamination of material nature. When a particular type of occupation is performed for the satisfaction of that Lord, however, the defects in that particular occupation, they are removed. That action then becomes purified. When the results of work are purified, when connected with devotional service, one becomes perfect in seeing the self within. And that is this state known as self-realization. Among karmas, that which has more evil than good is considered as vice, and that other in which there is more good than evil is seen as virtue. It is in accordance with time, place and circumstance then that karma becomes good or bad. The knowing ones ought to discern and do the good karmas only. The yogi, that one who is steeped in this discipline and dedicated to this path of austerity, discharges his duty as an act of worship to that Supreme. He performs for the sake of that Supreme that karma, that action to which his body is seen to be fit and most conducive to doing. He acts with the sole motive of reaching the state of inaction or Atman. The yogi discharges his swadharma as an adoration of the Almighty. There are two forces that control and guide and define and determine our actions. One, the impulses brought forth by the pressure of the mental temperaments within, and two, the pressure of the environment that tickles new temptations in ourselves. One is to follow faithfully the subjective vasanas, even if they be defective, we must courageously renounce all the demands that the objective world makes upon us from outside. The vasanas, or these mental impressions, they are born with these impressions on that mind with which one is born. They are really and truly to be lived without ego, desire, and while the vasana creating atmosphere into which one is born should not be allowed to contaminate one's personality. It means then this facilitates exhaustion of these vasanas. These impressions, they are allowed to act and simply exhaust or burn out themselves. The seeker must be careful to stand apart from the shackling effects of the environment. Man is the master of his circumstances, and to the extent one demonstrates that, one becomes evolved. So the greater one is able to exhibit that mastery over the circumstances, the more one is seen to be evolved. Arambha means beginning, and it is important that we recall chapter 12 of Srimad Bhagvad Gita, verse 16. Anapeksha shutir daksha udasino gata vyataha sarva arambha parityagi yoman bhakta sme priyaha. Arambha, sarva arambha means to renounce all sense of agency in activity. When there is an egocentric sense of self-arrogation, the I am self-arrogation, the I am doer sense, there is invariably creation of new vasanas, or these new impressions, and therefore defects in those actions follow. These defects are known as dosha. So, if there be an influx of wrong vasanas within, the earlier we exhaust them through action without any ego or egocentric desire of enjoying the fruits, the quicker shall the load of these vasanas be lifted from the personality. Here Sri Krishna is outlining how one can exhaust these vasanas and quickly get oneself to that state where one is able to rise to that highest state of perfection. Sri Krishna goes on further to say, Asakta buddhihi sarvatra jitatma vigataspriha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena dhigacchati. Asakta buddhihi sarvatra jitatma vigataspriha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena dhigacchati. He whose intellect is unattached everywhere, whose thirst for enjoyment has altogether disappeared, and who has subdued his mind, reaches through Sankhya Yoga, or that path of knowledge, the consummation of actionlessness. Real renunciation really is where one thinks of oneself as part and parcel of that Supreme Lord. One is acting for that Supreme in that state of renunciation. That person then, therefore, does not become attached to anything, and they are unaffected by things of the world. This placid state is due to one's mastery over oneself. The yogi has outgrown all desire for self and sense enjoyment. This state of actionlessness which then follows, and brahmavastha, they are one and the same. This state of actionlessness, naishkarmya siddhi, which is discussed here, this is that state which is reached when we do not identify ourselves with the equipment of matter, which are the instruments of perception, the three instruments of false interpretations of truth, the body, the mind, and the intellect. To regain our life in pure consciousness is that supreme state. When we forget our spiritual dignity, the misconception of the ego arises. We lose our real personality and come to believe that we are merely the limited ego. The ego arises when we are ignorant and forgetful of our spiritual nature. When this ignorance is ended, there is the experience of the infinite bliss of the all-full consciousness. no wants, nor desires follow. These wants and desires mean even thought formation ends, so long as these end. With the end of these thought formations, actions are dried up, which are really the parade of the thoughts. This state is known as actionlessness, Naishkarmya Siddhi. Naishkarmya Siddhi is that wise state of being wherein there is no ignorance. Desires are born of ignorance. This desire, born of that ignorance, gives rise or gives birth to thoughts. And these thoughts give rise to action. Knowledge of the Spirit ends that ignorance, which gives rise to that state of actionlessness, thoughtlessness, or desirelessness. One must get rid of the vasanas, or these mental impressions, through selfless activities, which are prescribed to each one of us according to the type to which we naturally belong. Arjuna, in this context, is a Kshatriya. The duty of the Kshatriya is to fight, and through fighting alone will Arjuna exhaust his vasanas. In so doing, then he can get to that supreme state of pure awareness. And we see this demonstrated where a clean-shaven intellect, free from attachment with equipment of perception, feeling, thinking, and the equipment of perception, feeling, thinking, and their respective objects, perceived, felt, or thought of, is the vehicle that stands dissolved, revealing that which pulsates through them all. This is that true state of renunciation, that true state of actionlessness, and a man who has earlier disciplined his intellect alone can attain that. And we see this portrayed by the sannyasas whose heads are shaved. In sannyasa, the clean-shaven head is seen to represent that clean intellect, which means no attachments. The brahmachari, however, retains a single tuft of hair, which is really seen to represent that single attachment, which is to the Supreme. Arjuna talks of detachment and renunciation are really false urges of escapism paraded as an angelic urge. His sannyas arose out of attachment, while true sannyas must arise out of detachment. Vigataspriha means that one who has subdued all the desires. Only in such a one can full detachment be established. This is why Sri Krishna is pointing all of these aspects out to Arjuna, such that he will gravitate to this nature. The mind is the seat of vanities of agency. The intellect is the seat of all false arrogations. These two make up the ego and is nourished through the attachment to the spriha, to the joy that is in objects. Through correct analysis, this spriha or attachment is dried up. Both the senses of enjoyership and doership will get steadily sublimated, leaving behind the infinite experience of the self. We see how power-packed each of these verses are, like we earlier identified. Chapter 18 is the summary of all of the concepts discussed through the entire Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And each verse we see here laden with so much of information and deep significance. We listen further as Sri Krishna is explaining. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tathapnoti nibodhame समासेनैव कौन्तेय निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा सिद्धिं प्राप्तो यथा ब्रह्म तथाप्नोति निबोध मे समासेनैव कौन्तेय निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा. Arjuna, know from me only briefly the process through which man, having attained actionlessness, which is the highest consummation of Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, reaches Brahma. Detachment from matter hallucinations itself is rediscovery of spiritual beauty. Renouncing the result of one's work for the satisfaction of the Lord, this really is that state of self-realization. Siddhi means that state of perfection. Everything is on a path to perfection. Through yoga, one attains perfection, curing all defects. That Brahma Gyan then dawns and one attains that perfection thereafter. Buddhaya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayams tyaktva ragadesho vyudasya cha. Buddhaya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayams tyaktva ragadesho vyudasya cha. Vivikta sevi laghvashi yatavakaya manasah dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritah. Vivikta sevi laghvashi yatavakaya manasah dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritah. Ahamkaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigriham vimuccha nirmamah shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Ahamkaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuccha nirmamah shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Endowed with an untarnished intellect and partaking of a light, sattvic and regulated diet, living in a lonely and undefiled place, having rejected sound and other objects of sense, having controlled the mind, speech and body by restraining the mind and senses through firmness of a sattvic type, taking a resolute stand on dispassion after having completely got rid of attraction and aversion, and remaining ever devoted to the yoga of meditation, having given up egotism, violence, arrogance, lust, anger and luxuries, devoid of the feeling of moon and tranquil of heart, such a one becomes qualified for oneness with Brahma, who is truth, consciousness and bliss. The intellect is really the instrument of seeing of this Jivatma. The defects in the intellect distort the vision obtained by that seer. Purifying the intellect is therefore the foremost factor in self-perfection. Dispositions in the forms of attachment and aversion have to be eliminated through Shama and Dhamma, serenity and self-control. A serene and equipoised intellect fixed on pure consciousness is pure understanding. This means with the absence of vasanas, no mental impressions. Restraining the self results in transcending this body consciousness. The meditator is really that intellect purified of all extrovert desires, a mind together with the sense organs brought well under the control of this intellect which is so purified. The sense organs no more contact the sense objects, and that mind which has given up its ideas of likes and dislikes. This really then helps that one get into that state which is most conducive for moksha or liberation. Solitude means that place where there is minimum disturbance. Temperance is the law for all spiritual students. The mind cannot be subdued unless the body is brought under its command. The body is seen as the sense organs of perception and action, and it is the grossest manifestation of the mind, which is that means through which actions are done. Actions happen through the body. To control action is to discipline the mind. Speech is really seen as all sense organs of action and their functions, the body is seen as the organs of perception and their activities of perceiving their respective objects. If these two are not controlled, the mind cannot be subdued. The mind itself, at the body level, becomes the sense organs, and the mind projected away from the body is the great universe of sense objects. When the mind, playing through the body, identifies itself with its own projections, the objects, this is called perception. When it comes into contact with the world of objects, seeking satisfaction and entertainment, it is called action. Disciplining action and regulating perception, eliminating the egocentric attitude in all of our perceptions, in all of our relations with the world of objects, is what is advised here by Sri Krishna. Diverting the mind from the world of sense objects and maintaining it in a steady flow towards contemplation of that Supreme in an utter attitude of identification is known as meditation. Through this, the mind is cooled down from that lust for sense enjoyments. This passion or vairagya is really that state when the mind rebounds upon itself from the objects as a result of its discovery that the objects contain no glow of happiness. Therefore, the true seeker of the higher life must seek solitude, live in temperance, subdue his speech, body, mind, intellect, live in a spirit of dispassion, a true life of aspiration to heave himself towards that ideal. The yogi is he who learns to be alone while in the world. He does not give any thought to worldly enjoyment. The identification with the body is the egoism kept up all through the soul's transmigrations. Renouncing this body consciousness in the self is abandonment of this egoism. The yogi does not face any evils of violence, arrogance, desire, enmity, attachment or ego. In eliminating all these, peace is a matter of course. He is therefore fit for becoming Brahman. This ahamkar or the I act mentality, this ego, this balam or the power to strive and struggle, this darpam, arrogance or pride, kama, lust or desire, krodha, anger, parigraha, aggrandizement. None of these are present in that yogi. Sri Krishna then advises Arjuna to become egoless, means nirmama, means to forsake this false sense of identification and become peaceful, shanta. All restlessness is caused by the ego and its onward rush towards the finite objects, seeking among the ephemeral a satisfaction and joy that is permanent and enduring. But only when we rise above that and we realize that this happiness comes not from any objects or gratification of the senses, but it is far beyond that permanent, never changing, ever present, constant state of happiness or bliss comes when one establishes that state of oneness with Brahman. Sri Krishna goes on further to explain. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Established in identity with Brahma, who is truth, consciousness and bliss solidified, and cheerful in mind, the Sankhya yogi no longer grieves nor craves for anything. The same to all beings. Such a yogi attains supreme devotion to me. Me here meaning Sri Krishna, meaning that consciousness pervading this entire universe. From this discovered inner tranquility, no doubt artificially propped up for the time being by severe self-discipline, should be positively reinforced by definite efforts and constant vigilance. We must attend to two aspects of the ego: the I do mentality and the I enjoy mentality. Once the intellect realizes the existence of the divine or the divinity or the diviner in it, it automatically withdraws its all-out clinging to the matter realm, and to that extent it is not disturbed by the objects of perception, feeling and thoughts. It discovers a growing tranquility, prasannatma, within itself. One who grieves not, desires not. Therefore, that tranquil seeker comes to desire nothing and develops an independent source of happiness, which is free from the presence or absence of any external environment. He lives in the world with a totally new set of values of life, in which there is nothing but the constant experience of the divine presence. He develops an equanimity of vision, and this type of an individual attains supreme devotion to that Supreme Lord. In order to identify with the infinite truth, the seeker must have a definite amount of detachment from his usual channels of dissipation, both in the outer world and the realms within. The Brahmagyani is simultaneously and at the same time seen to be a bhakta or devotee of Ishvara or that divine. So it is then this Jnana Yoga and this Bhakti Yoga we see here culminating or ending in that one state, leading to that same goal, Ishvara or that supreme state. With this here, friends, brings today's session to an end. Special blessings and thanks to all for joining. Continue to read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, continue to practice Srimad Bhagavad Gita, continue to spread the teachings of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Let us help to bring about that much needed change and transformation through the practice and spreading the teachings of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Again, special blessings and thanks to all. Jai Shri Ram.